Hello, everybody. It's the Spice Must Flow. I'm back again, and today I'm going to talk about basically the end of rule of law. That's what's going on right now. Been following the news, and there is special, um, the special prosecutorial team of Robert Mueller, and he's now put together a grand jury. Okay, and this grand jury is not constrained to the question of was there Russian interference in the election, right? That did not happen. What happened is that this grand jury has basically been impaneled to investigate virtually anything regarding Donald Trump. Now, that could involve, for instance, tax records going back, we don't know how far. Okay, people who will be called in to testify will not necessarily be given lawyers. Okay, and we have absolutely no idea of knowing where they will go or what they will find. This is basically a fishing expedition. Okay, and here's the thing, right? That is not correct according to U.S. law. Number one, but number two, and more importantly, the question you have to ask, the question that I'm asking myself and have asked myself personally is, would this have happened if it was anyone other than Donald Trump? If it was anybody other than Donald Trump, would anyone give a flying crap about something somebody had done in the past, right? A great example is, of course, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, there is a book that came out a while back that is named Clinton Cash, okay, by a guy named Peter Schweizer. In Clinton Cash, Peter Schweizer takes all of these possible connections and puts them all together to basically make the case that Hillary Clinton was running a corrupt pay-for-play organization whereby people could pay exorbitant amounts of money to have Bill Clinton speak, and in exchange for that, she would do favors for various entities, both foreign and domestic. Okay? Every last bit of Schweitzer's book is circumstantial. Probably the best, most well-known of, most talked about one is that certain Russians paid Bill Clinton to speak. They paid a lot of money, by the way, for it, in order for Bill Clinton to speak. And then the United States was willing to sell interest that it held in terms of uranium production to a Russian company. That's circumstantial evidence. We don't have a smoking gun. We don't have evidence directly that says Hillary Clinton did this because Bill Clinton did that, right? But now, it happened over and over and over and over and over again during the whole time of the Clinton Foundation, right? The links that they have with Trump are even more specious than Hillary Clinton's links. But no one's ever really bothered to investigate any of these ties at the Clinton Foundation. Maybe there's something to them, maybe there's not, but it is circumstantial. The question that I ask, and I think it's important to ask, is if this was anybody other than Donald Trump, would this have ever happened? If it was any person other than Donald Trump, if it was anybody other than a guy saying and doing what Donald Trump has done on a political level, would anyone have ever cared? Would anyone have ever said word one about what's going on right now? And my answer is probably not. If you look at it, you look at the connection of, Lindsey Graham is more or less kind of behind the scenes came out and said, well, if he tries to get rid of Mueller, we're going to move forward with an impeachment process. Okay, so basically what's going on is that the Republicans in name only, the people like Lindsey Graham, who ultimately want an agenda that's not incredibly dissimilar from the Democratic Party, and I contend at the end of the day, they just want to go to the wine socials with the cool kids over on the Democratic Party, right? They want to be a part of that. They're okay with being the Washington Generals of politics as long as they at least get to take part in it. But they don't really care about winning. They just care about pleasing corporate donors and making a lot of money, and they don't actually care about the country at all. If they did, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. My assessment. But they made an alliance with the Democrats to get rid of Trump. And you know what? They may or may not find anything. It's hard to say. But, as I said, they can go back through his whole life, a life of being in business, and see if he's ever violated any regulatory clause, any tax law, anything at all ever in history in Trump's 70 years on this planet. Your average person commits 3 felonies in a day somewhere in U.S. law, right? People do that sort of thing all the time because there's a huge amount of law. So they're going to try to find something that they can pin to him. And this is the issue. First of all, you can't really go on a fishing expedition legally like this. With your average everyday person, it's not supposed to happen. But even more importantly, the question is, would it ever happen to a Democrat? Would it have happened to Hillary Clinton had she won? The answer is no. There are various things that they could have gone after Barack Obama on. It didn't happen. Part of this is because the Republican Party doesn't play that way, at least the Republican Party of old. I can tell you right now that the conservatives, the conservatives of late, the conservatives that are coming out now, the younger conservatives, they are watching all of this, they've seen all of this, and they plan on taking scalps in the future, right? I'm not joking. They plan on trying to rip the Democratic Party to shreds in the future. But our government is losing its mind because of its short-sightedness. I understand they don't like Trump. I understand that they don't like his agenda. I understand that they do not want us to have tariffs. I understand that they want illegal immigration and legal immigration to continue as much as possible and expand even further than it is now. I get that. I understand that that's their policy. I understand there are very powerful corporate interests that want that to happen. I understand why they are doing what they are doing. It's evil, but it makes sense. The problem is that none of this has anything to do with crime. None of this has anything to do with anything Donald Trump has done on a legal level. All of this has to do with stopping that agenda, and it also has to do with the fear had by the Republicans such as Lindsey Graham that are totally in the pocket of big business, who are with the Chamber of Commerce. They're terrified of primaries. They're terrified of getting primaried. They're terrified of what's going to happen to them as more and more people decide that they would rather have a Steve King or a Jeff Sessions representing them than have a Lindsey Graham or a Jeff Flake or a John motherfucking McCain out there. Yep, that's for John McCain, honestly. He ought to be dragged out into the street and beaten with whips, tarred and feathered, and told never to come back to Washington. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering, are people in Arizona that stupid? Or is John McCain just simply the most amazing liar ever? Or is there just massive voter fraud? I mean, I don't know how he keeps going back. But, because I've talked to the Arizonans before, and I'm like, this guy is terrible. He doesn't even represent you. But beside the point. Look, here's the thing. The real reason why I say that there's a danger in what's going on right now, there's a danger in this total collapse of the rule of law, is that once it becomes clear to a population in a democracy that they can't get what they want, this is a theme I said earlier, but if it's made clear that you can't get what you want through the ballot box, then all of a sudden you're going to start to begin to think that the only way you're still going to get a vote is under rule number 308, if you get what I mean by that, right? And that I'm not saying that that's, the country's on the verge of some, I'm just saying this is like the beginning step, because we went through the legal procedure to get what we want. We had a candidate. Many of us did not think he was perfect, but we did like him. We did like him a lot better than Hillary Clinton. And so we got him. We got him in office. We followed the laws. We crossed all the T's. We dotted all the I's. We got our guy. And now people outside of his party and in his party are trying to make him go away under circumstances that they would never make happen with someone in the opposition. So they're communicating to us at this exact moment that they don't care what we think and they don't care what we do. That our opinion is irrelevant. Our votes are irrelevant. Our candidates are irrelevant. None of them realize the danger that they have created. And I hope they don't have to pay the price, because then we'll all have to pay a price for it. I hope that they stop. I hope that they say, okay, well, let's try something else, but let's not get rid of this guy. But it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen. I don't know. It'll be interesting, and I'll stick on this fairly soon. I plan on doing a book review, so probably be releasing that a bit later. At any rate, though, it's a spice must flow, and as always, furthermore, I consider Islam must be destroyed.